last of this session, and by no means least, is Marko Javornik, who's the Vice President and General Manager of Mobility and Travel at Comtrade Digital Services. Marko's leading Comtrade's partnership with key accounts, and he also founded the Mobility Lab at Comtrade. So I'd like Marko, please, to come to the stage. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. As mentioned, I'm Marko Javornik, and I will be talking about a hackathon that we have done in the airline blockchain combination. We live in a very exciting times where the source of value is converging from the physical assets into digital assets. So companies that make the biggest value today on the market are companies that can focus on the digital assets. But the complexity and the speed associated with digital assets is fundamentally different than the one that we were used to even just 5, 10, 15 years ago around the physical assets. For startup, in a way, it's fairly easy. You focus on the new source of value, you forget about the rest, and this is how we got some of the most valuable companies today. So Facebook, Airbnb, Uber, and so forth. For larger companies, it's a little bit more difficult. How do you keep the current business model running and at the same time not be run over the new initiatives? We talked today about blockchain, how it will fundamentally change things. This is a little bit what I talk about. So first, I come from a company which is, it's not a big company, but we are not a startup. It's 1,500 people. And we support some of these traditional companies to embrace digital technology. I lead the mobility travel part, where our key reference is Ryanair. So Ryanair, 4 years ago, announced, to surprise of many, they will no longer be airline in the future. So they see themselves as a digital platform, digital travel platform, sort of Amazon for travel, that happens to have a few hundred planes as well, and this is actually their, let's say, unique advantage over some other players. So we are the company actually that is implementing key parts of that strategy. So this, and actually this business for us is in a way traditional business. So we are taking the lessons learned from the market, we are applying the concept to a company that has several 10,000s of people. On the other side, we need to look into new things like blockchain, like chatbots, like artificial intelligence and so forth. And we realized that you cannot do this with the same culture that is needed to implement these large projects that we're talking here about. So this is why 3 years ago I founded a digital transportation lab within our company. And I like to show this picture because I think it really represents the difference in the culture of this small team, today it's 15 people, versus the rest of the company, 1,500 people. And it really is a different culture. It is different values. So within this team, first of all, I try to hide below and empower the young minds, because these are the people that are really creative and bring disruptive innovation. Vitalik, who invented Ethereum, he did it when he was 19. Think about where are your 19 years old people in your organization, and are they empowered to actually bring crazy ideas that us, let's say more aged people, you know, kind of would say, no, this will not work. So within this team, I try to empower these young minds and make sure that these kind of ideas are not killed. The key currency here is knowledge. The rest of the company, the key currency is euros, is pounds. It's making revenue, making profit. So blockchain was identified as one of the key technologies of the future, let's say fairly early. It's more than a year ago. And we already had a couple of events since then. We had 2 hackathons specifically focused on blockchain in transportation. The first one was in June in Berlin. And the last one, as mentioned, in Dublin in January around the airlines business. Such an amazing difference in this time, actually. So in June, we were still explaining what is blockchain, what is distributed ledger. In the hackathon that we had in January, basically more than half of the team was actually coding smart contracts. They were able to demo the solutions after less than 24 hours of work. So a little bit about the hackathon itself. So the event was organized together with Dublin Business School. We had over 100 people participating at the meetup, which was basically 3-4 presentation at the beginning. And then we had 70 basically people. It was sold out event, basically 70 people attending the hackathon itself. Some decided to skip it in the end. Maybe they didn't find the partners that they were happy, but we in total we had 52 people attending. Hopefully this video will work, so I would like to demonstrate a little bit how it was with 1 minute video. So yeah, we were in Dublin, so Guinness is part of the experience. Yeah, so to mention maybe a little bit about the event itself. So what's amazing is when these young people come and you see at 10 p.m. when actually we needed to close the door and reopen at 7, and these people don't want to leave actually the area in order to finish the discussion. So several people said this was really amazing to see the enthusiasm around the possibilities. What were the ideas that were the 3 winning ideas? So the winning, actually it was mentioned, it's supply chain management, is what audit trail. And probably it's not a coincidence that this kind of idea won in Dublin, because over 25% of the planes that are flying around are actually owned by Irish leasing companies. So this is an important topic for them, and also they were represented in the jury. And actually we learned that this idea is already taking place in a form of a startup that is part of the Shannon Propeller Accelerator. So that was actually the winning idea. Actually, there were 3 or 4 groups that pitched similar kind of things. So maintenance, repair, just bringing the audit trail of different parts of the airplanes. Then the second place, something that definitely appears to be a big thing for airlines, is I would call it next generation loyalty system, basically decentralized approach to loyalty. You all know that these loyalty programs are huge for airlines, so Miles and More and similar programs, they're really, really big. But today they are centralized. And the question is, so could a decentralized approach to this significantly add more value? So by embracing different airlines and different actually stakeholders to participate without a central authority. And this was actually, again, there were a couple of ideas around the same topic. So the second place team pitched the best idea around loyalty. The third one was, so there was also quite some thinking about the next level of distribution. So how could blockchain help in the ticketing distribution? And specifically, so this team created a great pitch around peer-to-peer second-hand exchange of tickets, which is actually today quite difficult to be achieved because airlines actually don't support this kind of approach. So there's kind of a little bit showstoppers, but the idea from the technology point makes a lot of sense. So this is why this team got the third prize. So this is once again the summary of use cases. In addition to the 3 that I mentioned as the winning, there was also the one around security, so identity management. So my opinion is this is the way forward. We also play with blockchain concept internally. So we have our own mobility currency. We call it MobiCoin. And again, what I can say is, unless you get the hands dirty, you don't really know what the technology can do and how you can benefit. Once we introduced this was 2-3 months ago, now we run into all the issues that basically you can read about regarding to blockchain, but you can also see where potential solutions can be. So that's why I encourage a lot this kind of prototyping, hacking, trying out different things for the purpose of learning and then finding a way to monetize it in the core business of the company. Thank you very much.